Global TV News Express, President Tinubu ends 10-day Lagos work visit, returns to Abuja. In business, Naira rally strengthens against FX speculation declines. On the foreign scene, Gaza aid flotilla activist deported, denounced treatment. And in sports, Flying Eagles to face Argentina in under-20 FIFA World Cup after 1-1 draw with Colombia. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. And now the news in details. President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja after a 10-day walk-in visit to Lagos State, during which he held a series of high-profile engagements with investors, commissioned projects, and attended national events. According to a statement issued by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the president arrived in Lagos after attending the coronation of the Olu Ibadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja in Ibadan. While in Lagos, the president met with key investors, including Bayo Ogunlese, Chief Executive of Global Infrastructure Partners, and Karim Bello Osagi, Chairman of Metis Capital Partners and former Chairman of the United Bank for Africa and Etisalat. And now to Borno State, where Governor Babagana Zulum has assured residents of border town of Banki that robust security measures will be implemented to protect them from further attacks by Boko Haram insurgents. Governor Zulum, who was on a walk-in visit to the town, was received by a large and enthusiastic crowd. He commended the people for their courage and resilience in the face of a recent attack, urging them not to be disheartened. In the meantime, Borno Governor Babagana Zulum has urged the Nigerian military to sustain operations in border communities to prevent renewed Boko Haram attacks, following the withdrawal of Cameroonian troops from Kirawa, a town once captured by insurgents in Goza local government area. The governor, who mobilized civilian joint task force fighters and troops to Kirawa after the insurgents invaded the town last week, killing residents and setting houses ablaze, expressed deep concern over the displacement of residents and the destruction of properties. Uyi Agbomofuegbe has the rest of the story.
During an assessment visit, Governor Zulum lamented that warnings he issued to the military about the dangers of leaving the area vulnerable went unheeded. Zulum stated that Kirawa and other border communities such as Wilgo, Baga, Damasak, and Malamfaturi hold strategic importance and must not be abandoned, emphasizing that the insurgents' recent attack has undermined years of stabilization and rebuilding efforts. The governor, however, pledged to strengthen local defense structures by equipping civilian joint task force and vigilante groups, revealing that the state government is exploring modern technological tools to enhance security. Uyi Agbomofuegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
Let's move away from security to news-making rounds in the health sector, where in a bold move to curb the rising cases of cancer in Nigeria, the federal government has launched a national sport and fitness fiesta against cancer, combining exercise, awareness, and free health screening for civil servants in Abuja. Our correspondent, Zara Unasir, reports.
It was an atmosphere of energy and hope as hundreds of civil servants converged at the MQ Abiola National Stadium for a day of sports, fitness, and cancer awareness. The one-day fiesta, organized by the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare in collaboration with the Federation of Public Service Games, marks a new phase in Nigeria's fight against cancer, aligning with this year's Global Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, DD Esther Walson-Jack, said the campaign was not just about exercise, but a declaration that the Nigerian workforce was choosing health, life, and hope, stressing that a healthy and resilient civil service is critical to driving the national development agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
This is a welfare initiative for civil servants. The point is that a healthy workforce is a productive workforce. If we have civil servants that are healthy, we would then all be productive and match to where we are all heading for.
The Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, Daju Katolum, described the campaign as a landmark initiative aimed at tackling the country's growing cancer burden. She noted that over 127 new cancer cases are recorded annually in Nigeria, with more than 80% detected at advanced stages due to low screening and awareness.
We found that there's a prevalence of cancer which has risen. A lot of deaths are attributed to cancer. And we actually want the civil servants, this is our home, that we should start with them and let them understand that early detection, early screening actually accounts for lesser deaths.
Medical experts at the event emphasized the role of lifestyle adjustments, balanced diets, and regular medical checks in reducing cancer risks.
This is not the first time we are screening people for cancers. So last year, in fact the previous years too, our hospital was chosen. So we are ready as always, and last year I remember we face it so that there won't be crowd at any point in time.
The pre-screening covered breast, cervical, prostate, and colorectal cancers alongside tests for blood sugar, blood pressure, and hepatitis. As Nigeria joins the global movement against cancer, today's event reinforces one message: early detection and prevention remain the strongest weapons in saving lives. Zahra Nasr, reporting for Global TV News.
Now, retired senior military officers have backed the call by former Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, for the declaration of a state of emergency for efficiently addressing the Boko Haram insurgency. In his new book titled Scars, Nigeria's Journey and the Boko Haram Conundrum, Irabo argued that the absence of political will had hindered Nigeria's response to insurgency, stressing that an emergency proclamation backed by the National Assembly would mobilize all elements of national power towards ending the war. The federal government has flagged off the campaign for measles, polio, human papillomavirus immunization vaccines, and other neglected tropical diseases intervention across the country. The Minister of Health and Coordinating Minister of Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pati, says the campaign aims to eliminate measles by the year 2030 through strengthened routine immunization, enhanced surveillance and outbreak response, integration of measles and rubella initiatives into primary health care, and the promotion of innovation technologies. Away from that, the Executive Secretary, Nigerian Press Council, Dr. Dili Uzuga, has commended the Department of State Services for the recent release of 2 journalists who were wrongfully detained in Jos, Plateau State. In a statement issued by the Director, Research and Documentation of the Council, Dan Ede in Abuja, they appreciated the paradigm shift in the relationship between the press and the services. He says the recent release of the 2 journalists who were wrongfully detained in Jos was indeed a positive turning point in the press-security relationship in the country. It was delightful to witness such, he said. And it was a day of joy, laughter, and colorful celebration as family, friends, and well-wishers gathered to mark the 6th birthday of adorable twin sisters, Bubu and Amanda, 2 shining stars whose charm and cheerfulness lit up the entire occasion. Samuel Odi has details.
The event, held in grand style, was filled with fun activities, games, music, and dance, creating a cheerful atmosphere befitting the young celebrants. The mother of the celebrants recalled the journey for the past 6 years that is filled with joy and promotion ever since she gave birth to her twin girls.
I have never had any difficulties. I've never lacked nothing. Since I bore the children, it has been from one success to another, from one elevation to another, from 2 rooms to duplex. It has been marvelous, from one contract to another. Oh my word, the children are just a blessing to me.
From dazzling decoration to lively performances, every moment reflects love and unity within the family.
A great joy that we are celebrating them today. I will thank God for many more years ahead.
I wish them good long life, good health, God's wisdom, and every good thing of life. I pray that God will guide them through.
Apostle James prayed for the continued guidance and success for Bubu and Amanda, wishing them a brighter future filled with endless joy and prosperity.
By the special grace of God, I wish them more glorious years, more beautiful years, more successful years, more their endeavor. And as God carries them from glory to glory, from strength to strength, they will prosper in everything that they do.
I wish them every good thing I can wish my children. Good health. She will soar higher than her parents. In fact, long life, no sickness.
Guests were treated to an array of delicious meals as children and adults alike joined in celebrating the milestone of Bubu and Amanda, a day that is symbolized with growth, joy, and blessing. As the twins cut their colorful birthday cake, it was evidence that their 6th birthday will remain a shared memory in the hearts of all who attended. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. When News Express returns, households suffer as cooking gas shortage worsens, rises to 25,000 naira. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back from that break. And now to business news, where the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, Basi Essien, says the distribution of the product was disrupted by the recent industrial action by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria. He said Dangote Petroleum Refinery is currently the highest local supplier of cooking gas in Nigeria. The crisis involving Pengasson scuttled distribution. Many dealers could not replenish their stocks during the period. He noted that supply would likely stabilize in the coming days following the resolution of the conflict. Now, once battered by volatility, arbitrary opportunities, and the widening gap between official and the parallel market, the Naira is now trading stronger across both ends of the market. At the parallel market, the Naira has been exchanging at 1,460 to the dollar lately, while at the official window, it trades at 1,475 per dollar, its strongest performance this year. This narrowing spread between the two markets reflects a growing alignment that analysts say underscores the impact of reforms introduced by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Let's head to Imo State, where Commissioner for Mines and Industry Ernest Ibijako has declared that the era of unchecked sand mining and dredging in Owerri is over. His firm stance, delivered at the State Secretariat, has triggered the intervention of the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel Development. Our correspondent in Imo State, Amarachi Ibe, reports.
The Imo State Commissioner for Mines and Industry says Governor Hope Uzodima's administration will not watch Owerri sink under the weight of illegal mining activities. Backed by the Commissioner for Environment, the message was clear: enough is enough.
The government and good people of Imo State can no longer fold their arms and allow the indiscriminate devastation of our capital territory. No responsible state government will sit back and watch her environment degraded to the point of collapse.
And we call on the Minister of Mines to come into our rescue, because if they continue with this, Imo State will be eroded very soon.
Joining the call, the Federal Controller of Environment Southeast, Obon, warned that violators of environmental laws would face stiff legal action.
Before you get to mining anything, any site, you must carry out environmental impact assessment. How is the environment, and when we are going to mine, how will it be before you leave it? So I want to get the names of those miners, the companies, because I will drag them to court.
I'll give you.
The chairman of the Miners Association Prince Ugochukwu Onyenwenwa, aligned with the state government's decision, pledging that genuine miners will abide by the directives.
What I'm trying to say here is this: anything good, anything that will help the environment, that will help the miners, please don't see the miners as irresponsible. We are responsible. However, there are some unscrupulous miners that are moving along to cause chaos in Imo State.
The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Lake, who was represented by a director in the ministry, Ganiu Iman, announced the suspension of mining at all affected sites, stressing that such activities cannot continue in the heart of a state capital.
When you look all this, we are going to pronounce a suspension of work in areas. And most of the area, particularly the area that fall within the municipal, because a mining is not taking place in the city, it takes place in the bush.
With government at both state and federal level speaking in one voice, Owerri may finally see an end to years of devastation caused by illegal mining. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
And now to news making rounds on the foreign scene, where dozens of international activists who joined a Gaza aid flotilla have landed in Tunis and Madrid after being deported from Israel. The flotilla, made up of 45 vessels, had set up to breach Israel's blockade and deliver urgently needed aid to Gaza, where the United Nations says famine has taken hold. Our correspondent has details. Israeli authorities confirmed that more than 400 people were detained after their boats were intercepted at sea earlier this week. The flotilla's organizers say they were on a purely humanitarian mission, but Israel accused them of violating its maritime restrictions on Gaza. Many of the deportees' activists say they were subjected to harsh conditions during the detention and questioned for hours before being flown out.
Para ya llevarnos a la cárcel, pasamos por un trámite también humillante en el que nos robaron prácticamente todos nuestros objetos personales y nos dejaron apenas un par de prendas de ropa a la mayoría.
The group, which included doctors, journalists and human rights advocates, said the mission was meant to draw global attention to the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Israel maintains that the blockade is necessary for security reasons, but critics argue it has deepened civilian suffering in the enclave. As the deportee activists return home, they vow to continue pushing for unrestricted humanitarian access, even as tensions over Gaza's future remains high. Mukhtar Qasim, reporting for Global Television News. In a related development, thousands of people have marched through central Dublin and rallied outside the Irish Parliament to mark what organizers termed 2 years of genocide in Gaza. Speakers called on Israel to release participants in the Global Samud flotilla, which was intercepted earlier this week, while opposition politicians also took part in the demonstrations. Agbon Fuigbe, brings us the details.
The police in Rome said some 250,000 people turned out for a fourth day of protests after Israel intercepted the 45-strong flotilla seeking to reach Gaza earlier this week. Some 70,000 people took to the streets in Barcelona, according to the police, while the government in Madrid said nearly 92,000 marched in the Spanish capital. Elsewhere, several thousand people marched through the center of the Irish capital, Dublin, to take part in the demonstrations, all of them making clear their demands.
Here to do the bare minimum show a little bit of solidarity with Gazans in a war zone who've been starved and bombed for 2 years by a country that's supported by the majority of Western states. Despite an attempt at sanctions by the UN that are blocked by the veto of the Security Council by America, and despite millions and billions of people watching this happen live screen on their phones every day.
I came here to demand that our government take action to stop the genocide in Palestine. I work as a healthcare worker, and healthcare has been destroyed in Gaza. Our healthcare worker colleagues are working in unimaginable conditions.
This senior citizen looks beyond the 2-year crisis, expressing disgust at the carnage that has occurred in Gaza since 2023.
It's such a horrific comment on the state of humanity that this has been allowed to continue, a genocide live streamed for 2 years. There's this peace plan that we're meant to give blind faith to, and there's been a global summit flotilla, which was where 350 odd people were kidnapped and are now imprisoned in Israel, and they're undergoing the kind of treatment, getting a small taste for us, people like me, of what Palestinians have been put through in Gaza for not just 2 years, not just a decade, but since 1948.
In London, however, Prime Minister Keir Starmer had urged protesters to stay home this past weekend after a deadly synagogue attack on Thursday. Uyi Agbomofwegbe reporting for Global TV News.
And now to the world of sport, where Nigeria's Flying Eagles have booked their place in the round of 16 at the ongoing FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile after a 1-1 draw with Colombia in the early hours of Monday. Goalkeeper Ebenezer made key saves in the 23rd and 26th minutes to keep the scores level, while the Nigerian attack led by Tahir Megana, Gorogi Ayele and Suleiman Sani created several chances, including efforts that struck the upright. Colombia took the lead in the 51st minute through Kenna Gonzalez, who converted from Onesa Villarreal's assist. The Flying Eagles responded with sustained pressure and were rewarded 4 minutes from time when captain Daniel Bamiri calmly converted a penalty after Megana's shot handed in the box. Still talking sports, Kwara United have parted ways with head coach Tunde Sani following the team's recent poor run of form, which saw them lose both in the Nigeria Premier Football League and the CAF Confederations Cup. The Harmony Boys suffered a 1-0 home defeat to Abia Warriors in Ilorin days after being knocked out of the CAF Confederations Cup by Ghana's Asante Kotoko on a 5-3 aggregate. Now, as Global Television News Express comes to an end, here is a recap of our headlines. Earlier in the bulletin, we brought to you that President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja after a 10-day working visit to Lagos, during which he held a series of high-profile engagement with investors, commissioned projects, and attended national events. In business, Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, Basi Essen, stated that the distribution across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using at Global Television NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim. Saying a very big thank you for watching.